So from tourist, short-term tourist, vacation, which automatically, you never went back. This is like you went to a nice plane and you found a beautiful girl or you found a beautiful man who you always thought was, and there's a lot of deception. The Mayas are deception, the man and the girl, or the place, or the location, or your job, or the money, or the order, or it looks very nice, it's very compelling, very inviting, but when you touch it, it's gone. So that's the nature of experiencing here, and therefore then when object A is gone, you go to the object B, you're attracted towards the object B. So we are traveling. In the sense, you wanted to tell me that we are travelers by nature, travelers of experience, of experiencing. So they go together, hand in hand. As long as we travel and we know we are travelers, as long as we know that we are on a holiday, it's perfect. But the problem is when we forget that we are tourists, that we are on a holiday, that we can travel, but we have to be aware of who we are and where we come from. The progression goes on. We are on the settlement phase. We are residents of Earth, and then of course Earth is meant for other things. It's not our home. That is the bottom line. And then we start to try to make it home. It doesn't work out. That brings us anxieties, frustrations, lots of emotional drain, because those qualities like purity does not exist on this plane, on Earth. There is no purity. Whether it's religion, spirituality, anything you can take, there is no purity. There is no 100% thing called pure. It is always mixed. The composition can be more or less, but there is certain levels of impurity in all the pure things you have on Earth. So things like purity, permanence, this is what is the DNA of our home, which we don't find on Earth, but we are looking at Earth. It's like finding the right thing at the wrong place, and then that creates frustration, that creates agony, despair, emotional drain. You want to get out, but once you're not enjoying it, the traveler, when he is no longer enjoying the travel, when the settler is no longer enjoying the settlement, he needs to get back. But getting back is another story, because the more we experience, the more every experience ties a knot around us. Every experience, in terms of impressions, in terms of memory, whether I have a memory, when I have a good memory, I get egoistic about it. That's a very strong cord around us to tie us. Or if I have lots of pain, I go through a very terrible phase in life, financially, materially, physically, personally, emotionally, whatever you want to call it. When you go through a very low phase in life, it gives you lots of pain and the memory of it. And that is deep inside your subconscious mind, which is like having a loads of heavy stone tied up to your being when you want to fly. So impressions, memory, in the subconscious mind of the good and the bad times. A highly spiritual man or a woman, if she has the memory this notion that she is very spiritual, it's a rope, it's a knot around that being for it to not to go back, because it's giving her ego, giving him ego. With ego we can't go back. Ego is for this world, ego is for this plane and for other planes. So these knots, every time we experience something, we like something, we dislike something, we make a judgment, these knots are being tied around us, around our spine, around our chakras. It's not easy anymore, as it was when you were a tourist. Because for tourists you have a time of arrival, you have a time of stay, and you have a time to leave. But not for a traveler, not for a settler. There is also another dimension to going back, and that is the cost. What is the cost I have to pay? There is a cost. The cost in terms of giving up your pleasures, your company, your family, maybe your profession, maybe the money, maybe the status, maybe relationships, the position in society, what people think of you and what you think of yourself, images. So that's the cost. And how many of us are really wanting to pay the cost? I do want to go back to my home, but I want to go with my family, I want to go with my money, my position, my relationships, my entanglement with my habits, the experiencing at any level, be it earth or be it other levels, other planes, because there are numerous planes and there are numerous earths where experiencing is happening, and it happens all the time. Are you willing to pay the cost to get back home? Of course, home will not have your family. That's another family, another type of family, but it's not the same family. Because you may be wanting to go home, but your partner may not. She or he may be wanting to travel more, explore more. Your parents may not, your friends may not, your children may not. Even students don't, spiritual students, who we call followers, religious students or followers, they don't want. They're happy here with their churches and temples, with the hope. Not that they are already happy, but they are made to believe, and they believe that things will get better. And one day they will find their home on earth. As I was leaving the premises of mother, I still had a question, and that was, Mother, yes, I will try to remind them. I mean the listeners, I would try to remind the listeners that we are tourists to this world, and we have to experience the world as tourists. We can't forget while traveling, while settling down, that we are tourists. And this awareness has to be not at the level of intellect only, but at the level of emotions, feelings. It's like something at the base of you which says that you are Arjun or John or someone else. Something at the bottom says, of course there is conditioning, there is people also, the structures, social, society. There's a lot of conditioning as to what we think, which makes us believe as to what we are. At the base of all this, the identity of I being someone from earth, that identity at the core level has to change to someone as a tourist on earth. I said to the mother going down, that I will try my best to share, remind them of their true status, of their true home. And even if by my repeated sharing and telling that they are strangers here, that they are tourists here on this earth, that it is not enough for them. They might accept it on a intellectual level, but on a deeper level they may find it difficult to relate to, because they're so much identified with the roles and functions of their and the theater and the drama they're playing in. So no matter how many times I tell them or how many times I try to explain to them, this message won't go very deep or won't have the impact. And the mother said, yes, I know what you mean. Tell them that try to become aware of contentment in their routine, mundane actions and experiencing. contentment was the key word for her. Contentment in what? Contentment in our daily actions, our daily habits, our daily routine. There is a phase where we're hungry, for example, if we are eating, or can be anything, any of our human requirements, be it food, be it sex, be it sleep, be it using the toilet. It's a need. Drinking water, it's a basic need. So in these basic actions, day-to-day actions, we try to increase the awareness of contentment. Become aware of these experiences. At the same time, when there is a level of contentment in those experiences, try to focus on that point of contentment and go deeper at that moment. For example, if we are hungry, we try to see the hunger, try to become aware of the hunger, the pain, the noises our stomach makes when it's hungry. And when food is served, the whole process of eating it and the belly getting satisfied, and there's a point where you are satisfied, where you are content. Try to become aware of this point in whatever experiences we are used to on a day-to-day basis. So contentment was the final key for someone who had totally forgotten from where he or she had come. In India we call Santosh contentment, and there is a mother goddess also dedicated to her by the name of Santoshima. So whatever we do, wherever we are, what experiencing we may be going through or do or have to do, there is no choice. It's a pattern you have to do. Contentment is the key. Become aware of the experience, the experiencer, the act, and focus or go deeper when you reach the levels of contentment.